Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are getting into a critical exploration of, well, the current state of artificial intelligence.
Oh, we're not just talking about academic models here.
No, not at all. We're focused on the really tangible shifts that are redefining business strategy right now. Things like the sheer scale of the infrastructure funding, these new specialized enterprise tools, and how AI is moving from just, being on your desktop screen into collaborative software and even the physical world.
It's everywhere.
It really is. And our sources today, they paint a picture of extremes. On one hand, you have the dizzying, almost unbelievable financial scale of the AI boom.
The GPU wars.
Exactly. But at the same time, we're seeing these really innovative launches from giants like OpenAI and Meta right alongside these quiet, practical deployments that are solving very, very specific problems.
And that tension, I think that's our mission today, that tension between the massive centralized investment and this push for distributed efficiency.
Yeah.
We need to dissect where the money is really going to see if this surge is, sustainable.
Right.
And also how these new lightweight, super efficient models are lowering the barrier to entry for businesses.
That's the perfect way to frame it. So let's unpack this with a fundamental question for you, the learner. How is AI shifting from what felt like a single-player tool you used to draft an email into this deeply collaborative, pervasive technology that's managing your projects, screening applicants, and even trying to protect you from fraud? So to understand the current moment in AI, you have to start with the money, the financial foundation, and that means starting with hardware.
It means starting with Nvidia.
It really does. They're not just a participant. They are the epicenter of this whole financial story. We hear the term AI mania thrown around a lot, but why is it translating into such staggering profitability for them specifically?
Well, because they've completely cornered the market on the engine that drives modern AI. The scale is just unprecedented. Their year-over-year revenue growth hit 62%.
62, wow.
Pushing their total revenue to $57 billion. But what's really crucial is where that money is coming from. It isn't teenagers buying gaming cards. The data center business alone now accounts for nearly $50 billion of that.
50 billion.
That revenue stream just highlights their unique, dominant position. They are the pickaxe supplier during the gold rush.
That's a great way to put it.
Now, some of the sources refer to this period as a kind of circular economy of AI spending.
What do they mean by that?
Well, essentially, cloud providers buy Nvidia chips to train models. Those models drive customer demand, which then leads venture capitalists to invest more money in AI startups who then spend that money.
Buying more Nvidia chips.
Exactly. From the cloud providers or directly. It's a feedback loop.
That sounds like a powerful, virtuous cycle, but I have to ask. When you describe it as an ecosystem held together mostly by the belief in AI's future, what happens if that belief falters? Is the hardware still useful, or is there a risk of just a massive devaluation?
That is the crucial strategic question. The processors are incredibly powerful, but they are highly, highly optimized for AI workloads. If the demand for large-scale training suddenly plateaued, those data center assets could become less valuable very quickly.
So the whole structure is propped up by confidence.
It's sustained by the ongoing confidence that AI capabilities will just continue to unlock new, multi-trillion-dollar markets.
And that confidence is getting some pretty high-profile validation. We just saw the news about Jeff Bezos reportedly returning to the operational trenches.
Right, not just as an investor.
No, as co-CEO of that new AI startup, Project Prometheus. When one of the world's most successful strategists places a huge personal bet like that, it validates the whole investment climate.
It absolutely does. And we're seeing that investor appetite defy traditional caution everywhere. Look at the AI music startup soon.
This is the brief on the premium content available from AI Now. Hey, so if you're enjoying what you hear on our daily show, right? Well, this premium stuff, it's basically your fast track. We're talking about taking all that AI knowledge and actually using it, like right away, moving you from just knowing things to really doing things with AI. Okay, so first up, the big thing is efficiency. You know how fast AI moves? It's crazy. Staying updated is tough. So what we do is cut through all that noise. We distill the really important trends, the tools, the strategies, give them to you straight, all actionable insights. It keeps you ahead without wasting any time. Second, what do you actually get? Well, for just $4.99 a month, yeah, less than a fancy coffee, you unlock a bunch of exclusive series you won't hear on The Daily Show. There's weekly deep dives with AI Now Educate, practical stuff on tools and business strats with AI Now Commercial, and even deeper analysis and frameworks in AI Now Conceptual. It's the whole package. And finally, we made it super easy and low risk to jump in. Seriously, it's totally beginner-friendly. Alex and Jessica, you know them, they break down even the tricky stuff. Plus, you can give it a whirl for 30 days, grab those strategies, and if it's not for you, cancel anytime, no problem. Easy peasy. Bottom line, AI Now Premium gives you that complete, up-to-date knowledge and the practical strategies you need to really get a handle on this fast-changing AI world.
No.
Oh, yeah.
They just secured a $200 million raise, which gives them a $2.5 billion valuation. And this happened even while they were being sued by 3 major music labels.
Over copyright, right?
Exactly. Investors are clearly betting that the technology and the market potential are just bigger than the current legal hurdles. They see the lawsuits as just the cost of doing business.
So the takeaway for you, the learner, is simple, but it's profound. The advanced AI tools we're talking about today are built on a physical foundation that requires immense concentrated hardware investment, and that concentration makes the market very sensitive to future belief. Okay, so if the foundation is built on massive hardware, let's look at what's being built on top of it, and, specifically, how the application layer is changing teamwork. We saw a huge shift when OpenAI launched ChatGPT group chats.
Yeah, globally, across all tiers.
All tiers, free, Go, Plus, Pro, everything.
And this really changes the DNA of the tool. ChatGPT used to be your personalized private thought partner.
One-on-one.
Exactly. Now, allowing up to 20 people in a single shared conversation turns it into a core collaboration space. It's not just for drafting a summary anymore. It's for truly shared, complex tasks, like co-writing a grant proposal, building a training outline, or even just using the model as a shared resource to synthesize conflicting data.
So what's the strategic implication of, integrating an AI right into the decision-making loop of a team? You mentioned it reduces friction, but doesn't adding an AI arbiter also introduce a layer of algorithmic bias into how a group communicates?
That is a very important and necessary challenge to raise. The strategic benefit, the friction reduction, is huge. Just think of a cross-functional team where ideas are scattered across, 5 different platforms.
Sure.
ChatGPT can instantly synthesize a sprawling thread, identify open questions, and propose next steps. It helps those teams move faster. For review cycles, it can clarify feedback or compare versions of a document. For new employees, it can summarize 6 months of project history. It's an instant onboarding shortcut.
I can see the value there.
But you are right about the bias. When the model determines what a good summary is, or an actionable step, it imports the biases from its training data. The key for a team is transparency.
So understanding its limits.
Understanding that the model is a synthesizer and an accelerator, not a final decision maker.
And on the privacy front, they seem to be careful. They confirmed the model, which runs on GPT 5.1 Auto, won't use memories from your personal chats or create new memories based on the group.
Yeah, and that delineation is essential for enterprise trust. That's a non-negotiable feature for any widespread corporate adoption.
Okay, so let's use this moment talking about this hyperscale collaboration to pivot to the opposing trend.
The demand for lean operational efficiency.
Exactly. Which brings us to NTT's tsuzumi 2 LLM, which is really prominent in Japan.
This is a fascinating counterpoint.
It really is. It sounds like a direct strategic answer to the idea that bigger is always better. What makes tsuzumi 2 so noteworthy?
It's revolutionary because it solves the operational constraints of the hyperscale models. tsuzumi 2 is explicitly designed as a lightweight LLM. It can run on a single GPU.
A single GPU.
A single GPU. This means it can match or even exceed the performance of models hundreds of times its size in specific areas. It's very strong in Japanese language tasks, but at a fraction of the cost and energy use. It democratizes access.
So if I'm a business leader or an IT strategist, how do I think about that trade-off? Am I just sacrificing capability for cost?
No, absolutely not. It's choosing the right tool for the job. The drivers for using tsuzumi 2 are highly strategic: cost, energy, and, most importantly, security and data sovereignty.
Can you give an example?
Yeah. Tokyo Online University uses it on-premise to make sure that sensitive student data never leaves their local network. They have to comply with strict regulations. Fujifilm Business Innovation uses it to analyze corporate documents internally without sending that sensitive info to an external cloud provider.
So it's efficiency being leveraged for security and control.
Precisely. Something the hyperscale models often can't offer because of their architecture.
That distinction is key. Okay, let's move from back office strategy to field operations. I want to look at two very different examples of AI transforming specific workflows: defense recruitment and 3D content creation.
And this really gets at the idea of AI as a force multiplier, not a replacement.
That's the perfect framing.
Take the Royal Navy in the UK. They're now using a real-time AI avatar named Atlas for submariner recruitment.
Atlas.
And this wasn't just some tech-first deployment, it was data-driven. It was based on the success of their previous text-based system.
What did that system show them?
Well, that text-based predecessor proved the concept. It handled over 460,000 queries and the strategic value. It logged a 93% satisfaction rate, and, this is a key number for efficiency, it achieved a 76% reduction in the live agent workload.
A 76% reduction. That's the strategic metric right there.
It is.
It means your human recruiters aren't spending 3/4 of their time answering repetitive questions like, what's the maximum tour length?
Exactly. Atlas is the visual evolution of that. It gives multimedia responses, spoken answers, captions, videos from actual personnel to handle that high volume of common questions. The Navy frames this not as cutting staff, but as better arming their existing teams.
The AI is a filter.
A very sophisticated 24/7 filter. It lets human recruiters focus their valuable time exclusively on candidates who are serious and complex enough to need that nuanced interaction.
Okay, let's jump from naval recruitment to digital creativity. Meta recently introduced its WorldGen system.
Yeah, this is a big one.
It generates fully traversable, interactive 3D worlds from a single text prompt in about 5 minutes. That seems poised to just fundamentally alter content creation speed.
It does. But the key technical differentiator for WorldGen isn't just the speed, it's traversability.
What do you mean by that?
A lot of the current text-to-3D models focus purely on how good it looks, visual fidelity. They use techniques like Gaussian splats, which look amazing, but they're essentially just visual point clouds. They don't have physical structure.
So you can't walk through them.
You can't. WorldGen, on the other hand, generates a crucial component called a navigation mesh, or nav mesh, alongside the geometry.
Can you quickly define nav mesh? Why is that so important?
A nav mesh is essentially a structured map of all the walkable surfaces and obstacles in the 3D world. Without it, your generated world is just a pretty picture. With it, the output is instantly game engine ready.
So compatible with Unity or Unreal?
Right, which makes it immediately useful for practical applications. Running simulations, training robots, creating digital twins, not just rendering scenes.
And they also solved a major workflow bottleneck for human editors, which is so key for adoption.
Absolutely. Previously, if you generated a complex 3D scene, changing one little thing could break the whole structure. WorldGen solves this with something called scene decomposition.
Okay.
A subsystem called AutoPartGen automatically identifies and separates individual objects, the chair, the table, the tree. This lets a human editor just easily move or modify specific items after the fact without needing to regenerate the entire world. It speeds up iteration dramatically.
We've talked about infrastructure, collaboration, and specialized augmentation. Now let's move to the most personal frontier of AI, the consumer and personal safety experience. AI is physically leaving the screen and entering gadgets you wear on your body.
Yeah, we are seeing a boom in these AI wearables. It's driven by this need for continuous, hands-free interaction. We can kind of categorize them. First, there's the recording and productivity focus.
Right.
There's B, a $50 pendant that records audio and creates transcripts. Notably, it was just acquired by Amazon. Then there's Limitless, which is $99, and it's designed to transcribe and summarize meetings, but only with consent from everybody.
That seems important.
Very. And Plaud's NoPen, a dedicated voice recorder for transcription.
Okay, what's the next category?
Second is the companion and interaction category. Devices like Friend, a $129 pendant, focus on emotional support. Uses AI to recognize tone and mood. Though that constant listening led to some early criticism about surveillance capitalism risks. And Omi, which is designed to be worn on the side of the head, uses ChatGPT to remember past conversations and offer real-time advice.
And finally, the category that tries to be a true digital agent.
The phone-adjacent devices.
Like the Rabbit R1.
The Rabbit R1 is important because it's trying to establish this concept of a large action model, or LAM. It's designed to execute complex, multi-step tasks across apps, like booking a flight or ordering a meal from a natural language command.
So moving beyond just talking about tasks to actually doing them.
That's the goal. And they recently added creations for users to build their own tools, which signals a move toward user-defined automation.
The convenience is rising dramatically, but that always comes with a critical counterpoint: rising risk. We have to talk about Google's strategic deployment of AI scam protection in India.
Yeah, a massive region where digital transactions are just skyrocketing.
And the need for this defense is stark.
It is. India has been grappling with massive digital fraud losses, estimated around $789 million in just the first 5 months of 2025.
Wow.
So Google is fighting this with specialized on-device AI. Their key feature is on-device detection using their efficient model, Gemini Nano.
And what's the strategic advantage there?
Well, Gemini Nano analyzes calls from unknown numbers right on Pixel 9 devices. It flags potential fraud like someone requesting payment info or urgent transfers without recording the audio or sending any data to Google servers.
It's all processed locally.
All locally, and it alerts participants with a subtle beep. It's key for maintaining trust and privacy while providing real-time protection. That inherent privacy is what makes on-device processing so vital for sensitive apps like this.
And they have a second measure.
They do. A pilot program with major financial apps like Navi, Paytm, and Google Pay to block screen sharing scams. It prevents fraudsters from tricking victims into sharing their screen, which is a common way they steal credentials.
But there is a massive scaling challenge here.
A huge one.
Despite the need, this on-device detection feature is initially limited to Pixel 9 devices and English-speaking users. In a market where Android has 96% share, but Pixel phones have less than 1%, the immediate reach of this critical safety feature is severely constrained.
It really shows the practical difficulty of democratizing this kind of cutting-edge on-device AI. So we synthesize everything we've discussed. The defining characteristic of the AI ecosystem today is this fierce, productive tension.
Right.
You have the massive infrastructure drive Nvidia's nearly $50 billion data center business demanding centralization.
Yeah.
But at the exact same time, you see this massive push for ultra-efficient specialized models like NTT's single GPU tsuzumi 2.
On-device protection like Gemini Nano.
Exactly, driving towards localization and efficiency.
And the impact on you, the learner, is clear. AI is maturing. It's no longer just a general-purpose chatbot or a high-end research project. It's now the invisible layer that is managing your team's communication, creating complex 3D worlds in minutes, acting as a filter for recruiters, and using localized processing to try and protect you from fraud.
All while a new device on your neck might be recording and interpreting your life.
Right, which leaves us with this final strategic question for you to think about as you analyze the market. If highly sophisticated, domain-specific LLMs can now run effectively and affordably on a single GPU for crucial enterprise tasks, does the current vast trillion-dollar valuation based almost entirely on centralized hyperscale infrastructure spending hold up over the long term? Or are we about to witness the true economic democratization of AI compute?
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. If you've liked what you've heard from us so far, getting these insights. Well, we found this really interesting source this week.
Yeah, a memo, wasn't it? Called The Fast Track to AI Mastery.
Exactly. And what really jumped out at me was how they framed the problem.
Yeah.
It's the sheer speed. They literally say AI is evolving at lightning speed.
Right. And their whole pitch, really, is offering this structured way to keep up, to actually leverage it, not just read about it.
So it's not just about random articles or blog posts, which, let's be honest, can be overwhelming.
Definitely. They're arguing for something more deliberate, a system. It seems like this premium content they describe is built around that idea.
Yeah. And if you feel what you've learned so far is beneficial, this sounds like the next step. They talk about this premium access. What is it, like $4.99 a month?
Something like that, yeah. Less than a coffee, basically. And it unlocks 4 specific content streams.
Okay, so what are they?
Well, you've got your weekly and monthly summaries, just keeping you current. Then there's specific educational stuff. They call it AI Now Educate.
Right, for the deeper understanding.
Exactly.
Mm.
Then updates on the latest commercial tools and strategies, really practical stuff. And finally, the heavier part, these conceptual deep dives and frameworks.
That last one sounds potentially a bit much, especially if you're, say, a beginner or just moderately into AI.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But that's where their guarantee comes in, apparently. The source memo is pretty clear on this.
How so?
They promise it's all absolutely beginner-friendly. They take complex ideas like The difference between fine-tuning and using a RAG system, right?
Okay, yeah.
And they break it down. They use analogies, real-world examples. The goal isn't just knowing the term. It's understanding why it matters, how you could, actually use it.
So it's application-focused. Less textbook, more toolkit.
Precisely. It shifts the focus from just knowing about AI to actually building strategies you can apply. The source really emphasizes that gaining stuff you can use at work or, just in your life generally.
It sounds like a curated path then, avoiding the information overload we were talking about.
That seems to be the core value proposition, yeah. For that small monthly fee, you get this distilled, high-impact knowledge, structured learning.
So for you, the listener, it means getting past the jargon, getting actionable insights, and basically staying ahead without drowning in information. And they mention you can try for 30 days, cancel anytime. Risk-free, essentially.
Right. It makes you think, doesn't it? In a field moving this fast, maybe relying only on scattered free stuff isn't enough anymore to really get ahead.
That's a really interesting point.
Maybe this kind of focused, structured learning isn't just helpful. Maybe it's becoming essential. The source definitely leans that way. It argues the value of organization really outweighs that minimal cost.